Diane, the Creative Inkster. Today is Tuesday, May 31st. It is the end of the month, and it is Technique Tuesday, a chance for me to show you how to do something different, like a card fold that is a fun fold, or a new technique, or in this case, sharing how to use a product that I bet you don't use all the time. You may not even have this in your stash, and I want to show you how much fun it is to play with. So, full disclosure, I got the soft pastels assortment a year ago when they first came out in the catalog, and have only used them a couple of times. Here they are in all their glory. You get 8 different pastels. This is the size of them. So they measure about, oh, I have the flip side up here. They measure about 2.5 inches by a 1/2 inch. And they come in these 8 colors, which are corresponding to our regular colors. So Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, Poppy Parade, Granny Apple Green, Coastal Cabana, Mossy Meadow, Gorgeous Grape, and Night of Navy. And that's all listed on the back of this box. So this is the cute little container they come in. If you're looking for these, if you've never seen these, hi Carol, thanks for checking in. It's nice to have you join me here. I'm in Guelph, Ontario, which is about an hour west of Toronto. And you are in Connecticut, so I'm really glad you popped in. So talking about the soft pastels assortment, down here on page 126 of our newest annual catalog. In Canada, they're $12.25 for the 8 colors. And I'm going to show you a couple of things that I've done with them. So, as Carol has noted, if you're here, let me know you're here. Give me a quick comment. You can say where you're from, which is all kinds of fun for me. And if you're watching on the replay, do let me know you were here. I love to read your comments whenever you leave them. So our pastels, I'm going to open them up here. And my thought process for getting these out and using them is they've been sitting on my shelf. I look for things on my shelf that have dust, which means they haven't been used in a long time. Time to use them. And with these, you can use a couple of different ways to get the pastel onto your paper. So let me show you a couple of quick ideas with that. Just grab a piece of scrap paper. You can, let's use a dark one so you can see it well. You can easily color it like this or with the flat end. Hi Lynn. When you color, you'll find it gets chalky. You just blow that part off, and then you've got your medium down there. So you can put it on with the edge like that, blow the excess off. You can go directly from a blender pen. You can pick it up off here and color with a blender pen for a very, very soft look. Or a way that I like to do it, where's my little craft mat here, my silicone craft sheet, is to take your pick tool, and not the pointy end, but the flat spatula end on this, and you can literally scrape a bunch off, so you're not wasting a lot this way. And when you do that, you can take your blender pen and pick it up from there to add color. And see how much darker that is than just going directly from the piece of chalk. So that was going directly with blender pen from your chalk, and then this is picking up the little bits. So that's one way you can do it. And then exactly the way we do with other coloring with your blender pen, just go back and forth. Actually, should probably go on here to clean it off. Oops, that's the wrong end. Here it is. Cleaned it off. You can also use our sponge daubers. I'm going to show you a technique with that. Basically, you're going to be using some Versamark, and you're going to Versamark an image down. So let's get our stamp set out. I picked the Butterfly Brilliance. This is a big stamp. There we go. Grab it off the stamp case, and I'm just going to use my trusty Stamparatus here. Just makes it easier. So you know if you have a Stamparatus that you stick your stamp set. Hi, Margot. And Lynn from High River. Lynn and Lynn. Lynn with an E and Lynn without an E. There you go. So you can, when you're using your Stamparatus, put your stamp set underneath. That just gives you a space on which to put your stamped image. And then when you go to add your ink, it doesn't go on its side. It goes nice and flat. So I do just have kind of like a little scrap here. So let's get one in the middle. I'm going to show you a full-on card, but I just want to show you a quick couple of things. So move this down a little bit. And I'm just going to add some Versamark there. There we go. I don't know if you can see that. It's very hard to see, but I can see the shimmer of the Versamark there. And then I can just take my Coastal Cabana, which is my corresponding sponge dauber, pick up some color right off of it, and in a circular motion, I can add, oops, I didn't get enough on there, I guess, some onto there. So I need to definitely have a little bit more of the, oh, Versamark. It's not coming through. Maybe you can see it, maybe not. But you're adding it on there with Versamark. And then another way is to use the blending brush. Same idea, use your Versamark. So there's a couple of different ways. Whatever tools you have at the ready, that is the way you're going to do this. Now I'm seeing that this is going to be a little bit difficult to position. Let's grab this. My plan was to show you how to add it with a sponge, with actually with a cotton swab. So I have these cotton swabs, which I bought for the house, and they're really great. I'm glad they're bamboo and they're organic and all that good stuff. Oh, I'm sorry you have a bad feed. But they weren't very soft, so I thought, well, they're perfect for the craft room, right? So I'll grab a couple of these out of here. So just your old cotton swabs. And I'm just going to position this here with my magnetic pieces. So I'm hoping that I'm going to get enough Versamark on here to allow me to use the cotton swabs, and it's not going to dry out before I'm ready to add the color. So I've added quite a good amount of Versamark on there, and I'm going to move this out the way. Oh, see, these really big stamps, it's hard to get around that magnetic piece. Okay, so I am pressing this down, and of course it's going to come attached because we know Versamark is a rather sticky ink. So there's my Versamark on there. I'm just going to position this in place so I can work on it. Now, let's start with a little bit of Daffodil Delight. So I'm just picking it up with the Q-tip or the cotton swab. Oh, would you look at that? It is not going the way I want it to. Let's try this a little differently. Very strange. It worked on the weekend. Let's try the Daffodil Delight and the sponge dauber and see how this works. Oh, that's way better. Must be my cheapo cotton swabs. So I'm just going to add, I didn't actually try that one out then. So I'm adding some color with the pastel and my Daffodil Delight sponge dauber, or dedicated to Daffodil Delight sponge dauber. There we go. Now it's working. I'm going to end up adding a fair bit of color all over this beautiful stamped image. So I'm going to add a little bit there. Then I'm going to add with my matching Highland Heather. So I'm literally running it across to pick up the ink. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Oh my goodness. And it's okay to go around it. That's the whole idea here. So I'm not just going to stamp it on the stamped image, but that's going to be the focal point. But then I'm getting in between with some color. So let's get over here a little bit too. So ixnay on using the cheapo cotton swabs. Good to know, you won't go out and buy them then, right? Right. And maybe a little bit down here too. Then I'm going to add a third color with my sponge dauber. And I know it's here. Here it is. Coastal Cabana. Now I have sponge daubers for every color. You don't have to. You can have certain ones for certain colors and wash them off. I just find they're in a 5-pack, so it's pretty inexpensive to go ahead and do that. I don't even need these, do I? There we go. Now you'll notice something different when you use the pastels versus when you use an ink pad and a sponge dauber. When you use an ink pad, you get a whole lot of a blob and blotchy look when you're adding it right onto the paper. But with the pastels, you don't get that. You just get the color where you want it, which is wonderful, right? Because you don't have to be so careful. There we go. I'm just rubbing it off of here and adding it around. This is so soft and pretty and not too Eastery, although, you know, I do have a feeling that when we use these 3 colors together, we've got Easter going on. But I think that they go nice, and kind of depends on what your colors are that you match with as your border and your card base, or your mat and your card base. A little bit in here. It's very soft, it's very light, but it adds quite a beautiful bit of color. A little bit darker right here, and a little bit darker over here. There we go. So that is our pretty butterflies. Love, love, love this big stamp. So definitely where the Versamark was, you get the most amount of color transfer. But I'm still getting some on here too, where the ink is not placed. Adding just a little bit more here. And it doesn't run, like it doesn't run into each other, which is kind of nice. It's almost like a resist technique. It blends nicely without mucking it up and then everything turning brown, right? Okay, so I think my Highland Heather was a little bit darker than I wanted, just on first blush, but ultimately I'm quite happy with that. I hope it turns out as nicely for what you can see. Let's get this stuff out of the way, and we'll finish up the card, and then I'm going to show you a couple of other cards that I made with these. So these, like I kind of mentioned at the top, these tools are called Soft Pastels assortment with 8 colors. They're $12.25 in Canada. Good price point. And then your sponge daubers for $12.25 as well. You can get a 5-pack of sponge daubers if you don't have those. Here are my colors of card base and a mat that I'm going to put together. Get my liquid glue out. Add this. And it's not a messy thing. You don't end up with lots of chalk everywhere. Just a beautiful, beautiful light look. I haven't used Coastal Cabana in forever either. Funny how we gravitate certain times of the year to certain colors and away from others. Now, if you've not seen this, this is Pool Party Ribbon. But it goes so nicely, I find, because it's a sheer, it goes so nicely with colors like Coastal Cabana, as well as the Pool Party, and even with Bermuda Bay. So I'm going to take liberty with this, and I'm going to do a bow tie around. So I don't know, I usually cut about 14 inches if you're wanting measurements. That's about enough to do a bow. And I do my bows this way. I pull the pieces, the long pieces or the loose pieces, top and bottom, and then I do the bow as if I'm doing it up and down, and for some really kooky reason, it usually ends up landing flat, left to right. Don't know why that is. I do not question, I am just happy. And then with this red ribbon, which is quite sheer, if you would like to put a glue dot behind that to hold your bow in place, why, you just go ahead and do that. We will put some dimensionals on the back because we can. Stick with me, I got a couple of other samples that I've made for my teen tutorial. This is the last day today, shifting gears here, is the last day to join Stampin' Up! And get the in colors for free, the in color ink pads and cardstock pack and designer series paper of 40 sheets, as well as special grid paper, all yours, a $90 value in Canada, for free on top of your usual stuff. And if you join my team, then you will get all kinds of other fun perks, including a card tutorial every month, which I'm going to show you the cards for this month. So this is my finished card. I'm going to leave it open because I'm not sure what I'm going to put on in the way of greeting. I might put, I'm not sure what I need it for, so I'm going to hold off on putting a greeting on that one. And these are the cards that I made showing 4 different techniques, and you might be able to spot them in my tutorial for my teen. So they get this in a PDF with all the instructions and a supplies list. So here's the first one, a happy birthday card. Here's number 2. So I do a tutorial, 4-card tutorial every single month for them, featuring different products or techniques, or a suite, or a bundle, whatever. This one I really like. It uses more of that Pool Party sheer ribbon, and this was basic white to begin with. So it is a fun technique that adds all kinds of color to your card basis or your card layer as well. And then the Hydrangea Haven, beautiful, beautiful flower. And using the pastels on all of them. So that's it, my friends. That's it for me for tonight. Thank you for watching and being here. I appreciate it. So the takeaway is cotton swabs are not going to cut it. And you definitely want to get your hands on your either blender pen or sponge daubers, or even if you have them, the blending brushes. And Versamark ink is your friend. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye now.